Hey guys, welcome to the channel. Happy New Year's Eve. So that was a new intro, and I also have a new outro, and I'm pretty excited about it. I really wanted to do something different for next year and kind of, give my channel a little makeover and, be more legit in a way. So this build, it took me forever, honestly. It did. I really wanted to make over the gardens that are in San Myshuno, and I thought, why don't I make like a really nice wedding venue? Because I don't know, the one that was there, it was nice, it was okay, but I wanted something more grand, something that might have been in the city for a really long time. So I decided to make a botanical garden type of build. And I think in the spring, whenever I decide to take out the snow mod, I'll want to go back and do a little more landscaping, because when you have the snow mod in, it changes all the base game plants to look like they have snow on them or they're dry. So it's really, really hard to landscape and figure out how everything looks. So when we go inside of the build, you'll see more greenery and things like that, because I don't know, I like the idea of having a greenhouse type of thing on the inside. So when you're looking out and you see snow, but it's all green on the inside, I don't know, that's just really special. And yeah. So this build is actually inspired by a botanical garden that I found. I don't remember where it is exactly, but it looks pretty similar, and it had glass roofs though, and you can't really do that in The Sims. So I opted to use those glass roof decor items, and I sized them up really big. They fit together pretty well actually, and they only glitch a little bit, so it's not too bad. And it was the look I was going for, so I was pretty happy about it. The only thing that looks kind of weird is like the top of it. In order to, have that glass look all the way around and on top, I kind of just had to go with it. I'm pretty happy with how it went, or how it turned out. I do have a bridal suite as well here, which I add later, but yeah. So I'm just adding all the windows all the way around, which took forever because there's like a bajillion windows on this building. But I wanted it to look very grand and very open and almost like a crystal a crystal building or something like that. There is a building that looks kind of like this also in Magic Kingdom in Disney World, and I think it's called like the Crystal Palace or Ballroom or something. But basically, you go there and you can just meet with cast members and characters and have breakfast with them. There is a second floor, but I got rid of it because I really wanted it to look like the walls were really tall and you can just look up and there's a giant chandelier in the middle and it's just beautiful. I would love to have, like, if I were to get married again, to my hubby, of course, I would love for it to be here because this is like my dream wedding, I think. But yeah, so this is available in the gallery if you would like to download it. My @ name is IrrelephantSims, and yeah, it's so pretty, and I'm really happy with how it turned out. At first, I wanted to use these hedges, but I got rid of those and I just have the fountain in the middle. Later on, I would like to do more in the landscaping, like I said before, but that will be later. And I'm sure it will be even more pretty in the spring and summer. So, yeah, but if you download this and you have, a winter wedding or a New Year's wedding, please feel free to send me pictures and screenshots because I would love to see that of your Sims weddings in this lot. Here I'm just putting pillars around the place because I wanted it to have more detail. It's slightly Victorian inspired in a way, I guess. I just wanted it to look very grand and very old. I didn't show how I did the dome roof in the beginning because that took me forever to figure out. So one day we'll get actual dome roofs and we won't have to jerry rig a dome roof ourselves. Here I thought it might be really pretty to have like a swirl on the ground, which I ended up doing later kind of, but at that point I thought I could use the swirls as kind of like a trace, like to trace the pattern I wanted and then put a bunch of hedges in that pattern, but it wasn't looking how I wanted, and yeah, it was just not going well for me. So I omitted that and I decided against it. I think we're going to be focusing on the inside now. So this area is where you would actually have the wedding. So I put the archway there and some chairs. Here's where the reception will be. I wanted to have the fairy lights kind of come from the corners to the middle. So I ended up putting lanterns in the middle so it looks like they're connected to the lanterns and they're not just floating there awkwardly. I thought this was really pretty. The theme colors of the wedding I went with were black, white, pink, and red, I think. I wanted to use these gold chairs that came with the vintage stuff pack, but I don't know, it was just a little too gold for my taste, so I went with these fancy tie-back chairs because the gold was a little more subdued, and I liked how the black kind of draped over it. At this point, when I found these flowers, I think they came with Dine Out, but I really liked that the base of it was black and the flowers were pink. So that's kind of where the color theme came from, were these flowers. I wanted the centerpieces to look kind of cluttered and have candles, and yeah, I just wanted it to look really romantic and like it's in a botanical garden build, So I put a lot of greenery on the walls, and later on I'll put a bunch of potted plants in, different corners and just kind of clutter the place with plants. I wanted it to look very lush and green. So as you come into the build, I wanted there to be something that was very grand and striking. So I created this hexagon shape in the middle, and so in here it's like a giant garden centerpiece, and it has statues and flowers and giant mossy pillars that go all the way around. And I thought that would be really beautiful to look at as you're coming into the building, as well as walking down the aisle behind it. You can really see it from all sides of the building, so I thought that was kind of a neat idea. I actually made a couple that you'll see at the end having their wedding here. And it was really funny because they moved into this house in Oasis Springs, and they had just moved in together. They were just roommates. After like a day and a half in the Sims world, they were engaged. I guess it was love at first sight because that is quick. And I don't know, it was just really funny playing as them just for the purpose of the end of this video, because I didn't really want to just do screenshots. I don't know. I really feel an emotional attachment to this build. So I wanted to do something a little extra special, especially for you guys. It is New Year's Eve, and yeah. So I hope you all had an amazing holiday with Christmas and everything going on. I mentioned it in the last video that I did, I think, but I went to Florida for Christmas and visited my family. It was amazing. I absolutely love just reliving my memories, because like nothing really changed. I've been away from Florida for a year and a half or 2 years. So going back to that after moving to Dallas and then to Nashville, it was kind of surreal. Like, oh, that's that restaurant that I used to go to. Or that's, that park that I went to when I was sad. Like, it was just, I don't know, it was really cool to watch or see. And the hubby and I actually went to the place that he proposed to me, which was so sweet. And I don't know, it was really nice. And it was a beautiful day too. There was a breeze and there was not a cloud in the sky. I don't know, it was amazing. So back to the build. I thought it would be really pretty to have these hanging flowers cascading down from the windows. And here I am just moving the centerpiece flower garden over a little bit because it wasn't centered and that was bothering me. So you can't see the chandelier though unless you look up if you're on the first floor, but that's okay. So I think now I'm building the Bridal Suite, and I knew I wanted a bridal suite in this build, but the only way that I knew that wouldn't look weird from the front was if I were to build it behind this one section here. And I don't know, I was pretty okay with it. It turned out good. Here in this section, I did just have the bar and like a little inset, but I was like, well, wait, we kind of need a dance floor and a DJ and all that for the reception. So I extended this room out and I added a dance floor and a bunch of lanterns. I really wanted it to look kind of fairy-like, I guess, in a way, because it's in this garden, this giant garden building. So yeah, I really liked using these statues. They just made it look more grand, and I don't know, I really enjoyed doing this build, and I really want to do more wedding venues in the future. Oh, speaking of builds, in future, next Saturday, I'm going to be starting my new build series, which I'm so excited about. Basically, I'm going to be exploring the way houses were made and kind of like the culture through the decades, starting in the 1890s. And I thought it was a good place to start because for people who are doing the decade challenge, or you just like decade or period builds, I think that would be insanely fun for you and for me. So basically, my plan is to build a house or build like a community lot or something in that time period. But I want to do like a house that or a wealthy person would live in, and then a place where a more someone who isn't as wealthy, just so you can see the contrast. Or if you are doing the decade challenge, not everyone starts out with a ton of money. So yeah, and I'm pretty excited to start that. I already made one of the houses for the 1890s, so that will be ready to go next week. And yeah, I'm really excited. So here I was just doing the bridal suite, and I wanted it to look very lush, as to match the rest of the build. So I put a bunch of potted plants and flowers in the fireplace area. Love this vanity. I just adore it. So I had to put one in here. I love this bed for this bridal suite, but I feel like it's not grand enough. So I used these, I don't know what they're called, but they're in the little statue category in decorations. And I just used move objects to kind of put them on top of each other, and they look like a really pretty 4-poster bed, and I liked how it turned out. I don't know, I think I might use that again in the future for something. At this point, I realized, oh shoot, I kind of need a bathroom in this build. So I used this little section here next to the bridal suite as the restrooms, and I think it turned out really pretty. I tried to make it really elegant and unisex because there's only one bathroom area. So yeah, that's this little area here. So I like the idea of using these windows as kind of like room dividers in a way. And I realized that just by placing them, they were casting like a weird shadow on the window. And I don't know why I didn't do this at first, but I should have just put a wall there because there's enough room, and just place the windows inside of the wall, which I ended up doing all of this after all of this effort that I tried to do by placing the windows and like moving up the lights on them, because they only snap to a wall, right? So I was like, oh yeah, I can just put a wall there. Now we're moving on to the reception area, and here I just put a bunch of plants and flowers, just kind of encircling the area, and I'm adding some lighting to the top of the build and everywhere on the inside. I really wanted it to light up at night. I think this would be such a pretty nighttime wedding venue, especially now that we have fireworks. Like, I'm so excited. Here I'm just adding some fountains to the middle part, as well as the little fountain that's on your way to the bridal suite and the bathroom. Because, I don't know, I just thought it needed a little oomph, and I thought it would be pretty to hear the water as you're sitting near it or as you're getting married. So yeah. Now if you do download this build, it is modded because of the snow mod and a few of the little string lights that I put outside. But if you do not have the snow mod, that is completely okay. Make sure you have your the little checkbox marked in your search when you're on the gallery, so that way you're able to see modded lots. I always forget to do that. I'm like, what the heck? I can't see any of these things that I've built. So here's where I put the little swirlies outside, and I liked the swirls that I did before. I might change it when I go back into it in the spring, I think. But yeah, I liked how it turned out, especially after putting the trees where I did. They kind of go around the swirls, so I thought that was pretty. Well, guys, it's almost time for the little machinima, so you can see the rest of the build in its entirety. I hope you enjoyed it. I had so much fun building this, and yeah, and I'll see you again soon. Bye!